So the East German infantry is on the clock here. I had thought about using this recon unit to call in smoke to cover their advance here, but the Americans aren't really set up in a way to do much to them coming across here. So I think we're just going to go ahead and move and see what happens. So this recon unit to call in artillery, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to get into those trees there. That's too bad. They've got the helicopters over here. I wonder if I did something wrong with the helicopters. I wonder, can helicopters be disrupted? I'll have to check on that. You know what else I just thought of? It's kind of interesting anyway. This action going on over here on this bridge here, doesn't this situation remind you of the final battle in Saving Private Ryan? The Americans have this small, highly depleted force that's desperately trying to hold on to this important bridge and surrounded by German tanks, trying to hold them off desperately. The difference is in Saving Private Ryan, there wasn't a gigantic company of new highfalutin Russian tanks bearing down on them also. So I don't think that we're going to see the same happy ending for these Americans over here. In fact, I am starting to think that I have very badly blown it for the Americans here. I think I've squandered this unit here with this idea that they'll sort of sit here in the middle and get involved wherever they're needed. But there's still plenty of time. So anyway, this formation is just going to move, and they're going to end up being out in the open, and the Americans get the Warthog next turn, and they also should have helicopters coming in here pretty soon, shouldn't they? Yeah, that's right. The 8th Aviation is in this deck somewhere. But our orders are to take the bridges, so let's take the bridges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the recon unit can get right here. Recon unit moves 7. The other recon unit is wrecked. I don't know. What do you think I should do here? I think I'm going to move this unit here and let it'll be ops complete there. But that way, if the Americans start repositioning in this direction to try to deal with the infantry, they could maybe call in some artillery or something. Otherwise, this is going to be pretty straightforward. I'm just going to select this entire column and move them all at once here, I think. They all have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They can move there. So this unit here will get a little bit hung up, but that's just fine. And this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Now some tanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in the back here, the artillery and the set of truck. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me see if the headquarters where it's currently positioned catches all these. It does. And now this last set of units here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and why not move the other side of the river? And so the East Germans infantry is ops complete. Let's see who is coming out to play next. B Company, 3rd of the 8th. Alright, now let's go to the solo assistant and see what the solo assistant tells us to do. So we have to, of course, see how close the closest unit in line of sight is. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That does not change. It is the stack of now reduced and disrupted T-72s at effective range from the Abrams. So the first thing we have to do here is take off ops complete markers, and I wonder if the headquarters allow you to so this, if I attach it to red, will the headquarters now allow me to remove the admin? It does. Boom, this module is great. And now we'll do the reload roll for the infantry here. It says fail. Right, and there the headquarters is not stacked with them, so they are again not able to fire the Dragon, which at this range I think is okay. Alright, so let's take a look at the solo assistant. So the first priority is at effective range. They're supposed to fire or move towards. Boy, that doesn't sound like a great plan. So the Abrams can fire, as it has been, so it's going to shoot 6 dice, needing 5 at those units down there, and this could be bad news for them. Ooh, it's very bad news for them. Yes, indeed. So the first tank gets to roll 4 dice, needing 5s to save. Saves 1, so that's 3 hits. So the first tank is wrecked, and now 2 more hits sort of carry over onto this next tank, and now it gets its saving dice, which are, again, let's make sure I get this right, 4 of them at 5, and they do save. So that was a good shot for the Abrams, but the German tankers are. Alright, so the order is move towards, and it seems kind of crazy to me, but I'm going to go ahead and follow that order. It doesn't completely expose. No, the headquarters doesn't go. Get a little closer, it might be easier to grab things. The squad weapon goes. So that is, the American infantry has now moved. I'm certainly not moving out of cover. And so they're a little closer, maybe give them a slightly better shot with the Dragon if push comes to shove. So let's see what the solo assistant would tell our armored personnel carrier to do. First of all, does it have any units in its line of sight? No, we've covered that. It is not in line of sight of any units, so this would be secondary thing. There's no disrupted units. If it's in a 0 defensive bonus hex, it should move to cover. Yeah, you know, I think, well, the idea that I had was to have them 1 hex away from the infantry in case they needed to mount up. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll follow that order. and move them up now, so because the infantry from an adjacent hex can load into the transport if they decide they need to. Let's see what it would tell me about these units here. Oh, I forgot to check for fire. Yeah, see, nothing about indirect fire on this card, so the headquarters is not calling in the mortar, although it seems crazy not to. I'm not sure why that wouldn't be an automatic, but I don't really know as much about these things as the designers do. Yeah, I just think I'm going to stick with my original plan of keeping the American units sort of on standby. As powerful as the East German forces are, they still have a fairly long way to go to really win this game, and a lot can happen. So this is a pretty powerful anti-tank weapon here. Alright, let me try to follow the solo assistance orders with some fidelity. So there is no disrupted enemy unit, and there's no unit that can fire. That's what the secondary thing is. Largest group of good order enemy units closest to a victory objective, or unit move towards it, or execute victory conditions. I don't think that applies. Victory conditions. The eligible enemy units would attempt to eliminate units in a victory objective. No. Assault closer to a victory hex not already controlled. Move towards the victory hex. So condition 3 right here is telling us to move the enemy infantry stack or unit closest to the victory hex. Oh no, it's not already controlled. Close to exit hex. Exit hex. Condition 6. If I was in line of sight of a unit and casualty victory points were in play, condition 7. It doesn't look to me like any of these conditions apply. So we're going to leave that be. We're going to pull the next card and see what comes. B Company, 4th of the 69th. And they're way down here. I want to make sure I didn't mess up their command range. No, I did not. Okay. So again, I'm going to stick to my guns. They're protecting this final objective here. Doesn't make any sense for them to go running around doing anything other than that, I don't think. Battlefield event. You know, I read an interesting thing on the forum. I read a reply to a since deleted session report that somebody had played this game with a friend of his who was in the French army, and the commentary that the friend had I found interesting. First of all, said that in this game there was nothing that seemed weird or out of the ordinary or like it wouldn't happen, except that he notices, and in all board games thinks this is true, that cardboard commanders are much more willing to inflict casualties upon their own units to achieve victory conditions than commanders in the field would actually be. That the break point for real life commanders, if their men were dying, would be different, and that certainly makes sense. I've never been in the military. I don't have any idea what that would be like, but it makes sense to me. So the battlefield events here, we roll these 2 dice, and that's an 8. And so we go down to the 8 column, and it says high rate of fire, one side. So we'll determine in a minute who gets it. Your troops intensify their fire. Activate one friendly formation for a modified impulse. When actions occur in the impulse, units can only execute direct fire, indirect fire, or onboard artillery strikes, not move and fire. So first thing that we do is you do a roll, and normally it's 1 to 3 is NATO wins and 4 to 6 Warsaw Pact wins, but this module, which I keep saying how excellent it is, I'm not bragging, I had nothing to do with the creation of this module, gives you this excellent button up here. So you just push this button and boom, NATO wins. So NATO gets to activate a formation that is currently ops complete and commit and conduct fire options. And so that looks like an awfully good time to try to get these guys in the fight. So ops complete, remove this infantry unit here, is going to go ahead and attempt to rally. Fails, and fails badly. That's too bad. That could have helped. So there's no need to draw a solo assistant card here. The instructions are clear. These units can only fire, and they have 2 targets here, and I'm pretty sure that it's up to the player's discretion to decide which target the enemy thinks is a little bit juicier. And I think that the target that has no disrupted units is the juicy one. So the first unit, the Bradley stacked with the headquarter, it's going to go ahead and fire. Now this time it's going to use its regular anti-tank armament here because it's not on the move. So it's going to get 2 dice plus 1 for the headquarters, needing 3s to hit because we're at point blank range here. So yeah, this could be a good roll for them. 3 dice needing 3s, and that's sad for the Americans. And so the tank gets 4 dice needing 5s to save, and it does save. And now the bottom American unit gets 2 dice needing 3s, and it gets 1 hit, and again the saves. Alright, no saves, so at least it disrupted 1 unit of these East German tanks. So could have hoped for better from the American perspective, but they're still holding the bridge. Those are their orders. You see that Nicolas Cage movie, Wind Talkers? There's that scene at the beginning of the battle where he got traumatized, where him and 1 guy are left alive, and the guy says, "We should run away," and he says, "We got orders to stay." It's a lot like that too, right? All right, let's see who rolls out next. The Soviets get to designated formation. Now, this is a Soviet designated formation card, so they're only allowed to pick a Soviet formation. They're not allowed to use an East German formation for this. They could pick these helicopters here, but the truth is, I think, that they need to get these tanks down into the fight as quickly as they can, and so we don't have to worry about anybody getting shot at, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there. 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 The Soviets just need to bring these T-80s into the fight as quickly as they can, and that's what they're trying to do. And the next card pulled is the so now this is the East German armored force here, and so move the admin markers. I love that feature. And so now we have a lot of disruption to check for, but first I think we have, yes, we have a hex that needs to see if it is, see that little feature there that Terry Simo taught me? You can make the hex flash that you're looking at. So this is the command check here for these units, and they are in command, so that is super good from the East German perspective. So now this tank that's disrupted here is going to do a morale check. It does not have the headquarters stacked with it, and it fails. And now a disrupted tank here, same thing, is going to do a morale check. It fails. And now this reduced tank, it will try a morale check, and it passes, so it is not disrupted. It rallies. So, what do we got going on here? This would be a great time to tear into these thin-skinned Bradleys. And so the tank stacked with the headquarters is going to do just that. It's going to shoot 5 dice, needing 3s at the Bradleys. Oh, that is bad news. Pardon me. It took that shot at the Bradley that has headquarters, but that hardly matters. So saves. So 1 at 6 and 1 at 5 for the city. And are there wrecks in that hex? No. So here's 1 at 6. That fails, and here's 1 at 5. And that passes. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 3 hits remaining. So 2 hits went through to this Bradley. There's a wreck in the hex now, that's for sure. Now there's a thing you do when a unit that the headquarters is stacked with gets eliminated, and I want to make sure that I'm getting that right. I think it's right up here. Yeah, headquarters and leaders. So it's right here. If the headquarters is stacked with is reduced, roll 1d6 for each headquarters and leader in the hex. If one is stacked with it, result of 1 to 3, the headquarters is not affected. But it was if the unit stacked with headquarters is eliminated, the headquarters is automatically reduced, if not already, then moved to the suppressed holding box. That's if all the units. So I think I roll here on a 1 to 3. The headquarters is okay. Headquarters is not okay, and it's already been suppressed. So now it goes to the suppressed headquarters holding box. So let me get caught up here. There was a total of 5 hits. 1 of them has been saved so far. 1 of them reduced, and then 1 of them wrecked. So that's 3 of them. Now there are 2 hits left, and this unit here gets 2 saves. 1 at 6 and 1 at 5. Well done. So it's reduced, but it is still out there. It's disrupted and reduced, but it is still in the fight. So, but I don't think it'll be in the fight for much longer, will it? So ops complete for that tank. The disrupted unit can't shoot. And now this undisrupted tank here is going to go ahead and shoot 3 dice, needing 3s. There's 3 hits, and so even if it had saved both, it wouldn't matter. It is wrecked. Although that vehicle is still technically in American hands, but it won't be for long. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to flip that objective. 6. Oh, you know what? These are Warsaw Pact units with orange firepower, so they lose 2 dice, but they still get their shot at the infantry, so they will use their machine guns, shooting each one shooting a single die, needing a 4 to hit. So the first one misses, the second one hits, and this infantry unit gets 1 save for being in cultivated terrain, and it fails badly, and so it is reduced, and the Americans are being defeated in detail here, mainly due to ineffective leadership, I think. So I think to get out of sight of this nightmare here, these tanks, this unit here is still disrupted, and that matters because these tanks are going to go ahead and conduct an assault. So they only get 1 die, needing a 4. The Americans rolled back with 2 dice, needing 6s, but Nah, that's crazy, right? Let's just shoot. 2 dice needing 4s with the machine guns at point blank range. Guess it wouldn't have mattered either way, right? Just a complete miss. Alright then. So, oh, and then there's this anti-aircraft unit here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be a good place for that fellow. Why can't I mark him ops complete? Huh. It actually matters because it could be that that the American helicopters come in, and that dude being ops complete would matter if that you know what, actually, because of that, they're going to just go ahead and leave him. Nah, there, he's going to go there. Sorry, all this fiddliness here. I'm a nut. Alright, there we go. And that's the end of the East German Motorsogen Deutschland, whatever that thing is called. Let's see who comes next. It's the it's the lone reduced disrupted American infantry unit from C Company, 1st of the 68th. And let's see let's see what the solo assistant tells them to do. Let's see what their orders are. Alright, so they're, if disrupted, a low risk move, otherwise fire. They are disrupted. I just don't there's no low risk move for them, right? Well, no, that's not really true, is it? They could come back here into cover. Okay. Alright then. That's sensible. That's a sensible order from high command. Oh, except, sorry, it's not. First we have to see if they're in command. They're in command. Alright. And also the headquarters is now no longer suppressed. And what is wrong with me? They had all these support weapons over here that I never deployed. Yeah, must have been like the National Guard from the movie. What's the movie where the National Guard goes into the swamp and ends up getting massacred by the locals? How can I not remember the name of that movie? Well, I'm babbling here. I'm probably tired and should get to bed. Let's see who gets pulled next. The American helicopters. Here come the helos, and one problem is I have kind of forgotten where the helos come in. I think they come in from the east. I'm looking in my little scenario book right now. North edge of the hex of the map, and so that is this area here. So should they come in here and try to kill some Soviet T-80s before they can get any farther? They could do that pretty effectively. I mean, they could do that pretty safely. They would not be coming under fire from this unit here, although they could potentially have been coming under fire if I left it back in this hex here. That hex there could have had line of sight up here. Yeah, maybe. So I think I need to end this video here and pick it up when I'm more well rested and can think about what the best. I guess I should ask the solo assistant what to do. Anyway, I'm going to end it here with the little note. that the U.S. helos are activated. And that's all we've got for tonight.